What have you been up to?
I've been having a lot of fun. I have been combining my experience of working in go-to-market direct leadership with you and being an executive coach and organizational development practitioner. It's been really, really fun.
Awesome. What are you seeing as some of the issues in the market today?
You know, what I'm noticing in the market, and it's something I experienced working inside as a seller and a sales leader, is that there's a disconnect for people understanding that what happens internally within your company and the relationships that you have mirrors externally to the conversations that reps end up having and leaders end up having with customers. So to put it cleanly, like what you do internally mirrors what happens externally.
Wow. Yeah. Any examples of what that looks like in practice?
Yeah, for sure. So if your leaders are not showing up to one-on-ones prepared, listening to learn, coming with feedback to give, demonstrating curiosity, and able to have those productive, sometimes confrontational conversations, the reps and folks in the company are not seeing what good looks like and are not seeing that modeled. And so then when they go to their customers, unless they're, evolved on their own in some way, which does happen and is great, they don't mirror that ideal behavior of, again, listening to learn, critical thinking skills, asking questions, and being curious to their customers. They're just mirroring whatever is being done to them internally.
And how do you,
And
oh, sorry. I'm just, I'm just excited. How do you help companies fix that? How do you solve that?
well, first we name it. I think that's one of the most powerful things we can do is start to name the invisible, because what's really tricky about relationships and dynamics is that they are invisible. And so much of our time in go to market world and training, we spend a lot of time training on things that are visible. So the mechanics, the things like KPIs and dashboards, and even making sure you're doing your call shadowing and these things. And those are all great and wonderful, but what I like to do with organizations is let's kind of bucket them separately. So let's talk about the operations, the mechanics as one thing, and then the dynamics, again, those invisible interactions between people as another, and start to, like, how are you doing? How is your team doing on both of those things?
Where do you see leaders have the most impact when they're thinking about mechanics versus dynamics?
Yeah, it's funny, even the language, right? Versus, I think it's mechanics and dynamics. I think originally when you set up, you can have a lot of great influence on the mechanics. Like if your team has, again, those dashboards and the operating system, that's a really rich place to start. But then after that, the real influence comes in those dynamics and able to be showing up well with your direct reports and other people in the company. I mean, go-to-market teams are some of the teamiest of all teams. They're partnering with marketing and they're partnering with recruiting and they're partnering with engineers. I mean, there's a lot of partnering that's going on. And so being able to manage those, again, invisible conversations and visible dynamics really well is where leaders can really influence the business and customer retention.
As you know, it's all about timing. When should you be brought in? What's the signal? What's the time?
Yeah, I my sweet spot is when organizations have some of the mechanics established, and so they have some kind of good operating rhythm, and they're noticing that, okay, we've set up these mechanics that are operating rhythm, but we're not having the kind of progress and client retention that we were hoping for. And I can feel something is off, and I can't really name it. Or I'm noticing that there is more friction in the business than I think there should be, considering we're tackling problems as they come up. And so yeah, that's a really good place for me when you feel like the team's working hard, but you're not having the kind of results and outcomes that you're hoping for.
Yeah, yeah. And Jill, one of the things I love about you obviously is your art of storytelling. Just out of
Mhm.
curiosity, why do you care about this? Why is this what you're
Oh, thank
concentrating
you.
on?
Yeah, it's been really fun to have my own business and reflect on like the patterns within my own career. And one of the big themes I've noticed is I've always cared a lot about having really direct and productive conversations. And I think back to, I can remember this moment on the playground in Southeast Seattle where I grew up. And I was talking to a girlfriend, Louise Smith. And in that moment, she wasn't saying very nice things about one of our classmates. And I remember thinking, like, why don't you just go talk to her about this? Like, why are we having a dialogue about that? And that's not very productive. And now I realize as an adult that people lack both the skills and the permission to have direct, productive conversations. And that's really what I want to help with in this world and with teams and businesses. So
Yeah,
that's my passion.
absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that with me.
Oh, I love this. Thank you for asking these questions. It's fun to share with you.